Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Monica Henderson, and I am your flight attendant for this amazing flight through MinkLife Motivation on Mondays. I am the creator and founder of MinkLife Motivation, and I am so excited to get into the topics we have for you today. So let's get this party started, shall we? So, welcome to MinkLife Motivation Live, where we come together every single solitary week to help you with your personal, business, branding, and network development. We help you do this by helping you get motivated, stay inspired, keep networking, and gain knowledge so that you can live a life that is designed by you, for you, healthier, wealthier, and more fulfilled. Now, I know you're thinking, well, what do we have in today? And what I want to tell you is, have you ever seen some businesses and thought, why do some companies seem to have lines for their business and others don't? Well, we're going to tap into that today because it's time to build your brand. And this week's topic is selling through the customer experience. To help me dive into these lovely topics today, I have an amazing cast of characters for you. First up is my co-host. She is the founder and Thrive Strategist for WellBeing and Worth, and also the Dean of MinkLife Motivation. And last but not least, she is also a MinkLife Motivation Master Trainer, my co-host, Andrea Gewirtz. Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, hey.
Next up, I have Peggy, Warny, who is also one of my co-hosts. She is the owner and photographer at Headshots by Peggy, a vlogger and podcaster, or soon-to-be podcaster. I slid that right in on there. And she is also a dynamic speaker at the next global virtual conference. Peggy, what's up, girl?
Yay, glad to be here.
And last but not least, our special guest today. He is the founder of Coaching Deconstructed, Inc., the life fulfillment coach, and also a dynamic speaker with the next global virtual conference. Our guest, Ian White. Ian, where are you at? There you are.
Hey. Thanks for having me.
East Coast.
No problem. So
North Coast.
We would love to know what you guys think about the topic for the day and why does the customer experience help you build your brand? Because Ian is our guest, I think I will let one of our vets go first. So Andrea, did you want to dive into the juicy topic?
Well, I'm a firm believer that your customer experience is that calling card that precedes you. It's called your reputation. And so if your customers are singing your praises about how they were treated inside of your business, it makes it that much easier to do your business. So building and being really clear on your customer experience makes it very, very easy to build your brand. Of course, when it's going well. Now, of course, it will detract from your brand if it's not going well, but there's always room for improvement. So I like to play the game like we like to at MinkLife, is how do we always keep that customer experience building and building and building so that there's zero doubt about the efficacy of what you do and the culture you create. So that's building your customer experience and knowing what it is essential to building a brand.
Absolutely. Peggy, did you want to chime in?
So I got in trouble last week for saying what she said, but you put me after Andrea and it's like, what am I supposed to say? So I'm going to put what Andrea said into a practical scenario. For many, many years, I was a high-end family portrait photographer, family, babies, children. So my entire brand and experience was this wholesome, loving, relaxing family environment. So from the second they walked in, actually from the second they saw my website or talked to me on the phone, every single step was about building this experience of just having this relaxing, wonderful, loving, amazing experience so that when they looked at their images later, they would remember that warm, fuzzy feeling. And I think that's, exactly what Andrea was saying is, every experience should build on each other. And that's what makes your brand. So it's very important that that from your headshot to the final product, they see who they're getting and they have a full experience of who you are and what your business represents.
I think that's a excellent job, Peggy. You really kind of pulled it around this thing.
She did it with story. I sounded like a textbook. All right, Ian. Now you're
And
gonna.
I'm going to fall somewhere in between probably. So for me, it's about referrals. So if you can create a safe space for your clients to be able to, feel that connection with you, and if you treat them well, they're going to share it with their friends. They're going to let them know. They're going to know what's helping them and why it's important that you have to meet Ian because he's so great. So if you don't do a very good job with that first client, that second client's going to be a lot harder to reach.
Absolutely. Way to round out both of their statements. When I think of the customer experience, right? There are definitely companies who do it really, really well. And I think one of those companies we all know very well is the Disney Corporation, right? They do a good job of really giving you an experience, whether you're on an app or in the parks or watching a cartoon or watching a movie, right? They have really kind of been about experience. And I remember as I was developing MinkLife Motivation over 2020, I would watch the Imagineering documentary on Disney Plus over and over and over again, because I was so struck by how closely they paid attention to the details of the customer experience from start to finish, to the point where they even they called the people who were on their staff cast members, right? Because they knew how essentially important it was for every person who's in that space to be a character in this overarching kind of narrative that they were in. And so when I'm sitting around thinking about, okay, how can I improve my own business? I kind of think of that, like on how many levels can they see the space that I'm creating for them. And it's harder, right? Because there's no office for them to walk into, or there's no like actual tangible place that they have to go into. So even when we were creating the conferences, right, that was how can we immerse them in an experience, even though it's just on Zoom, so that they feel like they left their house, even though they're sitting in their house at exactly the same time. And the compliments that we got afterwards of just taking the time to pay attention to those details of making people feel that way was they're like, I forgot, I was sitting in my house. I really felt like I went to a conference. And that, so I think it's like truly important, because you can actually transform someone from where they are in their house just by a phone call or just by a Zoom call, or just kind of creating that space through emails. And so it is a part of the experience, and it's a part of your branding. And a lot of times people take it for granted, right? We don't even like consider it as that big in branding. So that's my little 2 cents about it. Now, I know in mentioning the conference, I wanted to kind of, I don't know, ask you guys from the last year worth of businesses that you've interacted with, because I'm sure this past year you probably have interacted for way more businesses than you probably have when you were in regular way virtually, right? You've experienced people virtually. Were there any standout brands or people that you kind of felt gave you that real awesome like customer experience texture in this virtual space? I know I always throw a wild card question in there, guys. So if you're watching in Facebook land, they never know it's coming.
This is a thinker. I wasn't ready for a thinker.
No. Let's see. Everyone's experience has been so like get it done. Like can we think on this? Because I mean,
Yeah.
interacted on with so many brands.
Mm-hmm.
So many. I mean, professionally and then just like for consumption. I'd have to really.
Yeah, think about it. And for me, the couple that stand out specifically is So my virtual team, the global gathering. So there's a company called Team Referral Network that Andrea and I have been a part of for forever. And there's a virtual component with Terry Lee Harrison. And she does these amazing mixers that are global, and they connect you to different people all over the world. And she does a really good job of like making you feel like you're in her space, even though you're in your own space. And so she was one that I had a really cool, like experiential experience with. And the second one I would say is actually Tyson Sharp, who was on the show before. And he has a collaboration group called the Serving Circle on Facebook. And then he does these calls. And that absolutely feels like you're in his space, like energetically, right? And when you're in that space, it almost changes you a little bit to like kind of lean into that, into what, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay, I'm going to be like everyone else here. So those are two, just normal people that I've kind of interacted along the way that have made me feel like I was in a different space when I was in their space.
There's one that I came in contact with October, which actually led me to meet you, Monica, and it's called Authentic Networker. And what they did is they created a basically online networking platform, but they did it in a way that it was set up, and I'm not pitching because I'm a part of it, other than I joined it once or twice, 3 times. But they created a nice space to start creating a relationship. Because I've been to the networking groups in person where it's business, business, business. You get like 30 seconds and that's it, and then they go off and do their own business, and it's a card distribution activity.
Yeah,
But
call those card dealers. You get a card, you get a card, you get a card, you get a card.
Ridiculous. But with this group, what I really liked is you went off with a group for like about 20 minutes. And you talked about what you needed as support for your business or how you could offer support to other businesses. But it was about not just getting context, but connecting with people, connecting with other businesses, seeing how you can be of service to them. And not from a pitch perspective. Yes, at some point you get to say, yes, what I do and why I do it and how I help people. But they spent probably about 70 to 85% of that time in relationship building and having conversations with a small group of people. And you would actually get 2 or 3 opportunities to do that throughout the evening or throughout the session. And that's what I really enjoyed, was that building of relationship with people you likely wouldn't meet on a regular basis. But because of the pandemic and how things are being done in this virtual environment, it actually worked really, really well.
Aha. So what you're saying, sir, is that the relationship element that's attached to the business was really kind of what gave you a feeling of like leaving your space and being in someone else's, giving you an actual full experience.
Yeah, they created a really warm, inviting atmosphere for a business setting, which was kind of a bit of a dichotomy, right? But it was awesome. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, not in my world.
I was going to say, well,
taking your shimmy.
I'm like, oh, I want to go there.
I can invite you.
No, it just sounds like exactly something we would happily go meet with, because team really, since that's how I met Monica, which meant we established the relationships. That was part of the whole thing. Yes, you're part of a team, but they teach you a way to connect, like through these things called coaching sessions, and lots of groups do this. This format, like being on Zoom and being virtual, has connected us to even more people, and the ability to connect, like, is really the thing you're going to lean into more and more now when you go to anything 2D, I call it my 2D life, so that you can feel like you're having a 3D experience. So definitely the two you mentioned, Monica, have been influential to how we're networking and staying sane in this day and age. I was trying to think of a brick and mortar, and so I'm racking my brain for some kind of experience from either a service or a product-based thing. And I think a lot of people up their game for how to interact with us and how to connect via apps and things like that. So I guess the biggest one would be Zoom, because Zoom has made all of this possible. I mean, really, truly. I mean, Zoom has only improved since April. We
Hmm.
started these conferences with great, we thought, oh my God, revelation technology. And Zoom, to their credit, didn't rest on their laurels. They have just made this platform stronger and stronger and stronger, and much more of, I think, the equalizer for small business owners to connect with people globally. Like, it truly has shifted the way I think about my coaching practice and who's going to be served by it, because Zoom has made it so I could have those authentic relationships, to your point. I mean, now I meet with people and I can't imagine meeting with them in person because I won't, it doesn't matter. Like, that is a huge, I think, brain shift, don't you think? So,
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if, well, I don't know which experience Peggy have, but I'm gonna actually toot your horn a little bit, Andrea, because if you've ever been to one of Andrea's cleanses, you have never sat in a bed of vegetables in the way that you sit in one of her cleanse her cleanse classes. Like, you feel like, I do need to eat everything that is green around me and lovely and feeds my soul, because there's so many pictures, and it just kind of like shows you the life. Like, everything looks so just
thank you.
vibrant and vivid. And even my husband is like, yeah, this makes me hungry, right? Like, I want to eat when he sees the pictures from the cleanse. We're doing it as a family. And when he sees the pictures, he's like, yeah, that makes me hungry. It makes me want to eat stuff. And so, like, yeah, I want some vegetables. Those vegetables look delicious, right? And he's kind of a carnivore. So for him to feel that way, that I would say you did a really good job of choosing that and kind of
Yeah.
wrapping us around this space of like, oh no, we're just going to be in like healthy la la land for an hour and just frolic in the salads and the vegetables
Green
and
juice. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a great endorsement. Thank you. I wanted it to be pretty because that
Mhm.
means you want to eat it and stick to it. So,
Mhm.
And I'm going to second that because I'm working with Andrea on not in her big class cleanse, but one-on-one. And I, coming from a plant-based diet for the last forever, it wasn't like I was being introduced to vegetables for the first time, but I have tried things I've never tried before and found a new love for nourishing my body. And it is bright and colorful and beautiful. And it's a fun class. So I guess we both had to plug you for that
Mhm.
because I would have never thought taking a class or working with somebody this um, in, intimately, something about your health, your body, over a Zoom call, but you have made it just like, we're sitting next to each other at the table, having this conversation. So yeah, I think that would be that's going to be my experience
oh, oh my
for
gosh.
a good branding experience. We're going to toot your horn today because it's been a really fun experience, and all my ups and downs and my personal challenges. So, when I'm like, oh, she wants me to eat celery juice, that is so gross, but things like that. So it's been really fun, and you make it really exciting, and
Oh,
you spin all my like, yeah, Peggy, but don't you feel better when you're drinking that nasty celery juice?
I don't say nasty.
I do.
I
You
do the
don't, but I hear
celery
nasty
stick.
in my head.
He's like, let me go get my celery juice. I actually. So,
Yeah, I had a
So
similar experience with Ian, which brings us to our next segment. So Ian and I met through Jenna Kai, who is an amazing soul, right? Just an amazing woman. And she's like, oh my gosh, I need to introduce you to Ian.
that's
He would be phenomenal for the conferences. And I was like, okay, cool. And so we had a touch base moment that was kind of squeezed into like between two things. And he's like, I didn't realize that I was going to enjoy kind of having this conversation so much, but I have another thing coming. So let's schedule some time. And I actually got to sit in with him. I was in the car because there was no spaces in my house I was entertaining my mother-in-law. There were no doors to close in order for me to have this moment with him. And so I was sitting in a car in a basement garage, talking to
I
Ian
wasn't in the car
about.
when I was
He
here.
was he was not. I was in the car, but he made me forget about the fact that I was staring at a concrete wall in a basement garage, to talk about myself. And so he is a phenomenal life fulfillment coach, and has the ability to kind of create that same feeling of just great experience. And so without further ado, I would like you to hear his story, and how he has kind of came into this entrepreneurial journey. I want you to stay inspired with him through his entrepreneurial journey. He is the founder of Coaching Deconstructed and a life fulfillment coach. And he is going to be sharing with you his story of how he beat all the odds to come into this space. So with that, Ian, I would love for you to share your story. Can you please share with our audience your entrepreneurial journey?
Awesome. Thank you so much for that very nice introduction, and probably a little bit over the top for me. So my name's Ian White. I'm a life fulfillment coach, and I help people to transition from their job to more meaningful work. And I do this by helping people to align with who they really are at their core so that they can make the best decisions for themselves. Because I ultimately believe that we all have the best answers inside of ourselves for ourselves. But somewhere along the lines, when we were growing up, we lost that connection. We lost that trust with who we really are. And we've adopted some beliefs that have been passed down to us from others. And that's how I started my life. I started and I followed a path based on the beliefs of others. So when I was growing up, I had trouble learning in school. So I bought into the belief that I wasn't smart. My kids would laugh at me when I would read aloud. I got report cards that said I needed to try harder. My parents would top off that with, he's really good with his hands, maybe he should go to trade school. So I bought into those beliefs, and I followed a career path that was safe and that was logical. I went to trade school, became a draftsman, and from there I applied for a government position here in Canada as a property manager. And I passed everything with flying colors until it came to the requirement that, am I able to learn a second language? And in this case, in Canada, that's French. And they assessed me as being untrainable. So luckily, somewhere in the process, someone made the decision that I needed to be tested for a learning disability. And I was determined to be dyslexic. So in an instant, that belief that I wasn't smart was lifted. I wasn't dumb. I just needed to be taught in a different way. So I ended up getting that job. I ended up becoming very proficient with French. I even married a French-Canadian lady. I have 2 bilingual kids. But as I progressed through my government career, I found myself chasing that satisfaction. The higher up I got, the more frustrated I became. And during this period of frustration for myself, I discovered coaching. I got really curious about it, and I took a program online over the course of a couple of years, over the phone and online. So when an opportunity in government to take an assignment presented itself to me, where I was actually able to deliver coaching as a thing within federal government, I jumped on the opportunity. It was amazing. It felt so good. But it was a really short-lived experience because within a 4-month window, I was hired. I took the assignment, and I was let go. There were some massive budget cuts that year, and that department basically got cut in half. So I was one of the casualties of that. So I was sent back to my property management job. And I was probably back at the office for maybe a week, 2 max, when I woke up one day and I knew I needed to quit. I passed my wife on the couch, who was asleep on the couch with my premature son. I gave her a kiss and I said, I'm quitting today. And when I got to the office, I realized that was kind of an abrupt way for me to let her go that morning. So I started the negotiation with her as soon as I got to the office. I said that was a little abrupt, but we've been talking about this for a while. I know I need to quit. When would you be okay with me quitting? So this was mid-May, I think. And I said, she's like, when do you want to start? Or when do you want to quit? And I said, I'm going to give 2 weeks notice. And she said, how about December? Then I said, how about a month? And she said, how about September? So we ended up settling in on about a 6-week notice period. And the last thing that she said to me, and I'll never forget it, I asked her, are you okay with this? Are you okay with me quitting? And she said, I'm not okay with it today, but I'll be okay with it by then. So that day I walked into my boss's office and I quit, and I haven't looked back. I left that career in the rearview mirror, and now I get to do what I love. I get to coach people. I get to do what I'm passionate about. So basically, like I said, I followed a path designed by others with their best intentions for me, by the way. But it was their best path for me, not my best path for me. So now I'm doing what I love. So now I get to help people do that exact same journey, to make that transition from what they're doing to something that they love, and so that they can tap into their inner self, their inner guidance, and make decisions from that place. And by doing this, what I do is I help them with giving them structure and skills and support for them to be able to find their own way forward. And it wasn't until recently that I discovered that what the formula to success really is, because it's not really hard at all. It's only doing what you love to do and nothing else. So the problem is when we follow other people's ideas of what they think we should do, and we do those, that's when we get ourselves into trouble. So what I've done is I've created a program. I call it Find Your Way. And I'll talk about it more a little bit later. But basically, I just help you tap into your own inner guidance, your own inner wisdom, so that you can find your way forward. So no matter what's happening in your life, you're able to navigate that and make sure you're staying on path.
I love your wife. Your wife is amazing.
Yes, she is.
Oh my gosh. First of all, she clearly saw something in you that gave her the courage to say that to you, that I'll be okay with this, right?
I'm gonna cry on the internet right about now. So keep going.
She literally had to have seen it. And so for you to have such an amazing support system and to walk that path, she didn't know it, but she was doing God's work and unleashing you in this space, because you truly are gifted. And the time that you and I spent together, I really enjoyed. And I, which was why I was so excited to have you on our stage for next global virtual conference. But I resonated personally with your story in that I had my own social anxiety issues when I was younger. And so reading to this day, like currently, like Sunday, I had to read my own writings on Clubhouse, and, you know, the anxieties and all of the things were there and present. And one of the people who were listening asked, like, what is that about? And it came from way back then. So the fact that you were able to overcome all of those kind of things that could have just been in your way of actually achieving what you were able to achieve long term is phenomenal. And it's harder than it sounds. It was easier, I think, for you to say those sentences than it was for you to actually do. And so, you know, good for you.
There's a lot of other roller coastery moments within that story, but I needed to get it into 5 minutes.
Into 5 minutes, I realized, but like the stuff you had to overcome, just that alone, right? That alone could have stopped you from really kind of achieving, and you didn't let that stop you. So I love it. Peggy, Andrea, did you guys want to chime in on Ian's story?
Bravo. Congratulations. I know what a feeling it is to settle into your skin doing the thing you love. Like your last statement is so true, and it's a big rallying cry around here, and I see how that resonated with her, meaning Monica, her, and coming into this gifted gabbing girls group today, but in general to the conference. I get it. So it's really nice to have you here and know a little bit more of the backstory. And I will, like her, say, wow, what a great wife. Like I was thinking the same thing when you said that. She says, I'm not right now, but I will be. I think all of us who are Yay, there she is. Woo! Are entrepreneurs to when your spouse is behind you or your partner, um, it really does give you the air beneath the wings, not to quote that song, to go and find your way. Because, like you said, the entrepreneurial journey is not like, oh, yeah, let me just take off and fly into the horizon. It's like, I took off, oh, that didn't work. Oh, I took off again. Oh, I got higher. Crash, so getting to like some broad horizon takes some time. I mean, it's building a business, but leaning into that and loving that journey is great. And to be supported by your partner is like ice cream and candy and cake.
Well, I
All
couldn't
things I don't eat, but they sound really good.
I couldn't do it without her. And there's definitely been some lows in there, and it's her. I'm gonna cry right now, but just having her there going, I know you've got it. Like I know you're gonna make it happen. Even when there's no reason outside of me right now that I can point to and say, yes, it's coming, it's right there. She's always had that belief in me, even when I was panicking myself.
Yeah.
So,
Gee, now we're gonna start crying. Thanks.
yeah, thanks.
So for you don't have to worry about mascara and eyeliner running down your cheek. On the other hand, we do. Right?
Peggy's like that too. Peggy has a power partner in her.
Oh yeah.
I'm really fortunate.
Yeah.
And sorry, that wasn't.
I was like, can I say it? Can I say it? I was like, wait, be calm.
Way to slip it in.
But I wanted to add to back to Ian. I am also a fellow dyslexic, so I understand the struggles of being a genius in a mediocre world when they're trying to teach you like normal people and your brain's going 5 million times faster. So I understand that probably deeper than anyone else. And I understand those deep-rooted scars when a 5-year-old is told they're stupid, when a 6-year-old, when I was 6, my first grade teacher told me, you know what, just go sit in the back of the room. You're so dumb, I'm not even going to waste my time on you. So, those are things that, really, really form you as a human. And so for me, I kind of see like, we were watching some stupid movie last night, or it was a series, and the guy was just like, oh, this happened to me. And it was like the whole movie was about how he was given up for adoption and got like a loving family to take care of him. But it was just like he was so broken for, his whole life. And I was like, I have a hard time with that, because I feel like no matter how broken your life is, your job is to pick up the pieces and put it back together again. And I feel like that is literally, I was fortunate. I had an older sister that used to poke me in the chest and say, you're good at it, Peggy. You can pick up the pieces and put them together. And so, I think that's what you did. You're like, hey, all right, I'm going to make something of me. And not only that, I'm going to show you how. Come with me and I'll help you. And I think that's bottom line. We all have decisions to make. We can set and feel sorry for ourselves because life didn't give us all roses and candy. And, we had to eat our broccoli and we had to, dig holes in the dirt and work hard. Or we can just be thankful that we're breathing and keep moving forward. And so I think that that's a really big testimony of that. Like, hey, I know what it's like to grow up in that and have that, I'm 50 years old and I can read just fine, but I still, if I have to read out loud or in front of someone, that dumb kid is sitting on my shoulder going, they're going to laugh at you, don't read. And, it's something that is, I have to always say, we're good, get out of here.
That super resonates with me, but I think my job for my kids and my sole purpose for them is I'm going to pass stuff on to them that isn't going to serve them as well. Like I took beliefs from my parents and from the environment that I grew up in. I call that my lens of life. And that whole smartness lens was completely ripped away from me. And I don't have to buy into it anymore. So if I can teach them that no matter what beliefs I pass on to them, they can choose which ones are supportive for them and which ones are no longer serving them. So if they pick up the one that I'm dumb, Well, at some point in time, they're going to have to challenge that for themselves. And if I can help teach them how to challenge those things, then the world is their oyster. They get to decide if this is right and that's wrong, and this is good and that's bad. So, I mean, that's, for me, that's what I'm showing them through the journey that I'm on.
Yeah. Well, and all of us too. I mean, the opportunity to kind of share your story on platforms like this. And I know you shared a little bit of it in the conference as well with the conference goers. That, and what I'm learning as I continue to like literally stare my fears in the face and read my book out loud on different social media platforms, right, is it's not so much what we're saying, but it's the fact that we're still doing, right? We're still showing up. We're still, despite the fear, right? Despite those anxieties, despite maybe having some remnants of what was happening there, that we just keep showing up and keep showing up for other people and showing them what it looks like to kind of push through that. And you do a phenomenal job of that. So thank you so much for sharing your story and almost ruining my eye makeup. I really appreciate you. Yeah.
Thank you so
So
much.
beautiful. But when you guys said something that resonates with me, which is my favorite tagline: you have choices, choose to be great, right? And we have the choices to be great. We also have the choice to move this show right along to the next topic that we have to talk about. And in the vein of talking about your customer experience, there's a quote that we talk about in MinkLife Motivation by me. It's weird to quote myself, but the formula for a great customer experience is to under promise and over deliver. And I know a lot of you actually on this call right now identify with that heavily. And when we talk about customer experience in our brand builder at MinkLife Motivation through our training system, we always focus on three things. And the three things that we particularly put a magnifying glass on is satisfaction, endorsement, and retention. And that's how you know that you're having a great customer experience. And so the question that I have for my co-host and our guest is, how does a testimonial sell the customer experience? And Ian, do you want to go first? You're warmed up now. We've primed you and put you in this position. How does that, you talked about it a little bit earlier too in one of your answers, how does that testimonial help with the customer experience?
Honestly, I don't think I've utilized my testimonials very well, to be honest. And it's probably just me trying to even navigate how to best use them. But I have received several, and it's amazing to get. I think I just need to figure out a way that they are usable, because I get like these letters, because people are so appreciative of what I've done and how I support them that they drone on. So I think it's about trying to find those like highlight real, short, memorable pieces of information that people will go, yes, that I want that. And I just haven't whittled them down into something usable yet.
Yeah, we probably are all guilty of that a little bit, to be honest. Because yeah, you do get your testimonials kind of like in these word spaces. But Andrea, did you want to kind of chime in about the testimonials and the usage of them to help you kind of build your brand?
I sure would, because like Ian, now that we've gone virtual, right? Now that we're doing so much more virtually, right? How do you capture them, and how do you show them off without like putting them on your head? Like you don't have a card to put them on. It's not like you have a billboard. Drive by my billboard and do it. And so, just this morning in our earlier meeting, our Monday meeting, I was saying, my big journey is actually this aggregation and then, of course, exposition of the testimonial, because I'm a firm believer in third party. So if someone hears a good third party affirmation of my service or your service or the Mink Life service or Peggy's got plenty. She's got proof and pictures. And then she's got people going, oh yeah, you need a picture called Peggy. So she has trained her audience the best of all the people here. She's got the most experience. So when we get to her, take all the notes. And so it was really this morning, my ask to my accountability group was, what's the best way for me to get these? I've got text, I've got little snippets, I've got, like you said, these beautiful missives, and and they were like, oh, try to get them to do it on a video or something like that, or interview, or be really intentional about it, so you can use it in your social media and you can use it other places. And so, one, getting them, but then using them judiciously. So I'm going to tell you that how I have used the few I have that I've gotten that have been written. I've just put an excerpt someplace like this problem, and then the testimony was the answer, right? Or was, oh my God, thank you so much for this. And then I was like, did you have that problem too? Hear from so and so, Sally. So that's how you use them. I think, though, as a moving to an online entrepreneur more, where to put them, I'm going to say in our social media, and our emails to our groups. If, we do send them, because sometimes, believe it or not, people do read them. I'm guilty of that. Like, if I haven't heard from somebody on social media and I know they email me, I actually do go look for them in my emails to see what they're doing, to catch up on them. So for everybody who's doing email marketing and thinks it's dead, because of the algorithms with Facebook and things like that, please keep doing it. And those of us who aren't really good at it need to get better at it, because I'll certainly go search for so-and-so and go into my email and catch up, because at least it's a siloed conversation that I don't have to go wading through social media to go flesh out, because it's getting, like all of us, I think, a lot out
Yeah.
there. So.
I personally, so I haven't been good at actually putting my testimonials out, so I'm in the same boat as you. And I see you, brother. We are working through it, but I've been using my testimonials differently. I actually use it when I'm creating copy for the different marketing things, and not using their exact words, but helping me understand what their win was, so that I can actually speak to, I can do this, right? And the hardest part about any entrepreneur is like that imposter syndrome pops up, right? When you're like, okay, I have to boast about myself. What the heck? You want, I've been taught my whole life not to brag, right? And so the beautiful part about testimonials and using them to actually craft your messaging for people is when I give my testimonial and I say, I help you with clarity, I help you with structure, help you with organization. I know that that is true, so that my imposter syndrome doesn't pop up, because I have the testimonials that said that to me, right? The people said that's what they got. And therefore, I get to kind of kick my imposter syndrome in the butt and say, nope, can't come here, because I got proof that this is true, right? And so even using the testimonials, I have little Post-its, and when people say things, I write them down, and I have these little booklets of Post-its of things that people say, like I help them all the collections of information that they got in all these other places. I help them actually make it usable, right? That's something I can say now. And I can like have that as like my certainty. I can say that because someone told me that that's what I did for them, right? Or even I helped them get over their paralysis by analysis, right? They were sitting around thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and never did anything. And then I got in there and kicked their butt, and now next thing you know, they're doing something, right? Well, before having the testimonials, I would feel like, well, this is what I want to hope to help people do, but I'm not sure. And now that I have the testimonials that are telling me that, yeah, I did that and I helped someone do that. When I go out in the world and I say, I help people get to it's me, I'm the problem, I'm in my own way, and I need help, I can say that because my testimonials gave me that credibility to myself to be able to say that with confidence. And it makes me, even just in talking about my business, be a little bit more confident. So I know that's not your usual way of using the testimonials, but it has helped me tremendously. So hopefully that's helpful. Peggy, what about you? The queen of testimonials. I mean, if you haven't been to her website, headshotsbypeggy.com, go and check out, if nothing else, just to do the R&D. Go and see how she has it all laid out and all the testimonials that are there, and check out, because she really is the queen of really capturing those testimonials and doing something with it. But Peggy, tell us about the testimonials of it all.
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that, because I feel like, I forget to gather them, I forget to update them. So thank you. I appreciate hearing that that's That's what you see of me. But Andrea said that I had my clients trained, and that's exactly what I do. As soon as they start in the moment, they love this, they love the experience, they love their images, they're happy, they're like just telling me how much they love me and what can they do for me, can they buy me a coffee or whatever, you know. I'm like, well, actually, I love green tea, but what really means the most to me is a review on Yelp, Google, and Facebook. I said, if you would take the time to write down, and I tell you what, I'll text you the links right now. And that's the key, because you know, they have to find you on all the platforms and do all this. So I say, you know what, let me just text you the links, and I have them like saved. I just plug it right into their text message and I send it to them. And 9 times out of 10, I get a nice review when, you know, when I remember to do it, because but every time I, you know, send them the links, and having good reviews is so important to your business, because like Monica said, it reinforces the things you're doing right. And it shows you gaps you have. Like sometimes you may think like, I'm so awesome at this. It's odd that none of my clients mention this. So you need to reevaluate, like maybe you're not so good in that area as you thought you were. And then other things that you think you've really struggled in. So you maybe really put effort into it. And that's something they notice. You're like, okay, so I'm on the right road. I'm on the right path in this area of my experience. So I believe testimonials are important, because everybody's going to assume that you and your mom and your dog love you, and they're going to say nice things about you. But what about, you know, this guy over here that's, you know, or this person over here? So it's really important to have that there and available to people. I think it's something that everyone should do. If
I'm
people
so
love
glad
your
this is
experience, tell
recorded.
them. Huh?
So glad this is recorded. I
Well,
just want to
Ian and
let you
I just
know.
pulled out paper. He
I'm
started
taking
talking.
notes.
We were like, hold on, wait a second. What did she say? You're like looking all calm
Yelp,
to the camera.
Google,
We
what?
got schooled, like seriously schooled on
Seriously,
how to
school.
really use those testimonials and how to get them testimonials. If you are not listening to this, sorry for you, because yeah, that was like masterclass right there in like 3 minutes. Yes.
It was Facebook, Google, and what was Yelp? Yelp.
Yeah.
There's 3. I can't remember the third one.
There's a Facebook
That was
one?
awesome.
Yeah, Facebook reviews are a big deal in my industry, because I work with a lot of actors, and actors live on Facebook. Don't know why. It's dumb. Oh, no. I love Facebook. We're on Facebook Live, aren't we? Sorry, Facebook. I love you,
Important they don't look like
Facebook.
criminals, right? That's good.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah. So, yeah, so that was, wow. Thank you. Ian, did you
Thank you,
want to
Peggy.
chime in on what Peggy was saying in any way? I mean, I know you were
Just,
taking notes too.
I got some stuff to do.
Right?
I've got some really good testimonials, but I haven't used them. I'm like, yeah, I'll pop them up on Facebook, or I'll throw it up on Instagram or whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely not leveraging the way that I could. So yeah, thanks for
I
reminding.
had a customer tell me the same thing. They're like, oh, where's your Google page? I'll add a review. And I was like, Google page? I mean, seriously, guys. So you're the second confirmation about this Google review thing. So it's a real thing, Ian. You and I can
Yeah,
both hold each
notes,
other
notes,
accountable.
notes
And like
aplenty right
in
here.
30 days, better have it done. No,
Right.
actually 15.
And incorporate it in your website. Like at the very bottom of mine, it just scrolls like random testimonials. Just scroll. They're just there at the bottom. Like, you know, they're not like up top, like, ooh, look at me. They're just there, and people do see them.
I see.
Mm.
Yep. Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
happening. It's going down.
Yeah, I know where they need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
you have just seen live here on Facebook. Host, co-host go, got some work to do.
It felt like I got caught with my pants down a little bit, just a little bit. And I'm at Zoom where I don't even need pants, and I still feel like I'm naked.
Well, I think we all feel a little exposed right about it. You're not alone.
Again, if you want to see it live and in action, you should go to Peggy, headshotsbypeggy.com and check out what she's got going,
Holy
because
grail.
Actually,
She's been
check it out
busy
next
for-
week because it's getting remodeled right now. I mean, it's the old version's there, but next week it's going to look.
well, even
Hopefully.
still, we are all going to be like on your website, like, okay, this goes first, and this goes first, and this.
I know, and then we'll put this over here.
We'll put this over here. Yeah, no, that's wow, Peggy.
Thank you, Peggy.
Clearly, you're a brander. Just why we have you on the show. It's because you are amazing at branding. So thank you very much for that. Well, we have one more topic to get into, and that is to gain a little knowledge, which I don't know about you, but I already felt like I got schooled today, but it's okay. Share one tip on building a strong customer experience. So one tip from each of us. Let's go around. Let's start with Peggy, since you just schooled us. You've already given us all the tips, but if you have one more gem you want to drop on us,
One
our
more gem?
pads are still available to collect.
I know everybody's going to say, under promise, over deliver, but since she called on me first, I get to be the first one to say it. I am a firm believer that I never under deliver. I already have what their package is. It's already more than they know. So I already have that in my mind. So when they leave, I always have that extra to slip in. And think about how you would like to be treated. That's it. Like, I'm really fussy with my customer service. Like, I will walk out of a place and go, well, clearly they didn't want me to ever come back here. And I don't want anybody to ever leave my studio saying, well, clearly she doesn't ever want me to come back here. So I always make sure that when you leave my studio and you're thinking, I can't wait till I need headshots again. Like, oh my God, I can't wait to tell all my friends. Like, and that's basically, in my experience, just that little extra touch.
Nice.
Ian?
Absolutely. Okay, Ian, what about you? One tip on customer experience.
For me, it's about how they feel. So I'm probably going to butcher the quote, but it's Maya Angelou. People won't remember the way that what you say, but they'll remember how you make them feel.
Mhm.
So just about creating the space, the intention for that person, trusting that they've got all the tools inside of themselves. They just need somebody to help them to unearth that. And if you believe in them, they'll believe in themselves that much more. So for me, set the intention, build that relationship, and they'll be back.
Yeah, lovely. Andrea?
Well, I took an interesting class and it really stuck with me. We've all been taught the golden rule, treat people the way you want to be treated. And always, like to your point, Ian, same thing, Peggy, same thing, and like always planning that. But this really stuck with me, has never changed. It's called the platinum rule.
Mm-hmm.
And this platinum rule is treat them the way they want to be treated. Not necessarily you, but they want to be treated, and really live in their school of reality. Like and it's very similar to everybody's here, but really making sure that they believe that you're only thinking about them and what the situation is at that moment. And so that really is living into that platinum rule. And it's really stuck with me because once I changed frames, that little slight tweak, it became very effortlessly to deliver a consistent customer experience. Because like you, Ian, I have to very much flex with my client to create the space of belief for them that they can make these changes for their health and how come it's important, and making it based on what they're motivated to do. So it's all about that platinum rule. So glad none of you quite took it, so I got to say it.
Yep, and I'm going to go the complete opposite direction, and I'm going to say, I always ask for questions, comments, and rude remarks. And the reason why I ask for the rude remarks is because negative feedback is great feedback. It lets you know where you have more work to do, where you're not quite up to par. And the people who tell you bluntly exactly how they feel are actually your best customers, whether you keep them or not. And the reason why is because if you can address some of the issues that they have, and make it so that no one else can complain about that same thing again, then you are really creating an amazing customer experience. So don't be scared of the negative feedback. The negative feedback is actually your friend. I mean, it's not negative at all. It's a benchmark of where, okay, so this is where I'm coming in. Even if it's just a 1% of the time someone complained about this. Well, I don't want this to be 99% of the time. So let me tweak this one thing. And if I tweak this one thing, then I will give them even better of a customer experience. So I prefer the rude remarks, which is why I ask it all the time, even though many people who are about positive mindset are always like, why would you ask for that to come into your world? Why would you encourage people to give you rude remarks? And my thing is, I'm a scientist. I am always looking to figure out if it's this time, or was it a fluke, or was it consistency? And so I'm always, kind of looking for those feedback markers. And so that's what I would say. Ask for the rude remarks, because those are just as useful as those testimonials that are glowing, testaments of who you are. And that will help you kind of build a better brand as well. So with that, if you have questions for us and would like us to answer them in the areas of your personal life, your business, your branding, or your networking, we would love to hear from you. So just go to minklifemotivation.com/live. There's a lovely little chat box there that you can drop a line to us and let us know what questions we can have answered for you. And we will answer them live here on the show, just like we did right now. And with that, it is time for announcements. So we will start with our guest, Ian. Please share with us what is happening in your world and how can people connect with you?
Well, my social media handles are all Coaching Deconstructed. So you can find me there on Facebook and Instagram. But basically the project that I'm working on that I'm the most excited about is my Find Your Way membership. So basically, I believe that we all have the answers inside of ourselves for ourselves. We just need a little bit of support to help mine that stuff out. So if I can help you to uncover those answers for you, you'll be on your path doing what you want to do. So basically, it's a weekly membership. You show up, your first experience is free. So you get to feel what it's like. And you don't have to worry about commitment to something that you don't know what the hell it is. So you come, you experience it. If you like it, you just send me an email and I will send you a link to join. There's also no long-term commitments to this. So basically you come with whatever challenge or situation you've got going on in your life. I share on a topic for that night. Could be on law of attraction, abundance, life purpose, limiting beliefs. Basically, if it's a personal growth development topic, I cover it. So I share that little bit of knowledge. We then apply that specifically to your situation, so you get real practical experience with it. I coach everybody through that night. Then you go off and play with the new experience for the week. Then you come back next week for a new tune-up on a new topic, and you continuously spiral and grow yourself in finding your path so that you are a self-sufficient being and you don't need me anymore. So if I do this right, in a few months, I'll work myself out of a job. So that's my ideal reality. It kind of a really crappy business plan, but it makes me feel good that people are actually being able to become self-sufficient.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if you have the link. Is the link around? They click on it. It'll take them to my website where we talk about the.
Yep. So Alana has put it in the description, and if it's not in the description, she will also be dropping it in the comment. So there's more than one way for you to be able to connect with Ian. Thank you, Ian, for sharing that. Peggy has to pop off exactly at 1, so she has 2 minutes to give her what is happening in your world.
Well, like I said, I'm revamping my website. I was going to announce that next week, but since you go check out the old website this week and you can compare it to my new site next week. I'm Headshots by Peggy everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I am on Clubhouse. We do a room every Tuesday and Thursday. So I am out there all over the place in social media. So I believe my link app is in the description below, and that's linkapp.com/Peggy. And you can find interviews, you can find all sorts of things on that. So that's it, guys. Mwah.
See you later.
I'm out.
Thanks, Peggy.
See you later, Peggy.
Congrats again.
I know. On the intake.
Okay, Andrea, what about you? What's happening in your world?
Well, I am in week 5 of my January cleanse students, and I'm starting a new class February the 18th. Today is the last day to sign up for that. And if you want to know how my cleanse is not your normal cleanse, you should come today at 2 o'clock. It's in 1 hour. Oh my goodness, Pacific time, to learn more about it. And the link to sign up is actually in the chat too. So then it'll be March. So we'll do one in March if you missed this time. So here we go. Off and away.
Nice. And what's happening in the MinkLife world? Well, we are prepping quickly for our Embody Change to Thrive conference series. We have 2 happening. If this slide will ever turn. I don't know that it'll ever turn. Come on. We have 2. There we go. We have 2 happening. One in Los Angeles on April 24th and 25th, and the other in Sydney. Now, mind you, we are not actually going to Los Angeles or Sydney. You are going to be going from your own home, but it is virtual. So you will be on those time zones. So Pacific time and Sydney time. And we are looking for dynamic speakers. So if you have a voice, and you want to put it out there, you have a message you want to put out there, you want to help people, we are creating the army that's going to change the world, and we need your voice to help people embody change to thrive in this new normal. Also, we have our Power Partner Mixer coming up on Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, where you can meet MinkLife Motivator, the MinkLife Motivator community. You can share what is happening in your world with a commercial, and also learn how you can build your business alongside in partnership with MinkLife Motivation. And last but not least, we are, if you liked the topic today, which was customer experience, we have the brand builder, and you can take a course for free. That is the executive voice. What happens? We create habits that support your personal and business growth. We build stronger, authentically mutual beneficial relationships, both in life and in business. We help you create a strategy that supports your personal and business optimization. We help you create a balanced and organized time management system. And we help you align your actions to your vision to maximize resources. And then we connect you to amazing people like Ian to help you continue with that growth. You can try it for free right now. Go to minklifemotivation.com/complimentary and try any of them. Try our Life Calibrator, our Business Maximizer, our Brand Builder, or Influence Booster, and start tapping into your own personal vision for who you are, and what you want for yourself. And let us help you do that, creating that action plan. I would like to thank Ian, our guest, for being on with us today. Also, your name's supposed to be there instead of Tyson. Sorry about that. I would also like to thank Peggy for all of our promotional shots, and Marcia, who's not with us today, for all of the branding stuff. Remember, you have the power to activate the vision within. And also remember that sharing is caring. So hit that share button and share this with people, because we had some knowledge dropped on us today. And if you don't share, you are not a very nice person, because there are people in your circle who need to hear that message, and you are holding them back for their truest potential. Don't be one of those people. Share it with them. So hit the share button, share it in a message, share it on your timeline, share it in your groups. We want to help you get the word out there on how everyone can really activate their vision. I love you. Happy Monday. Remember, every Monday is New Year, right? So today is the beginning of the rest of your life. So go out there and be amazing. Everyone say bye.
Bye.